This courtroom hearing quickly turns into a tense and revealing showdown as a man charged with criminal trespass attempts to challenge the authority of the court using familiar sovereign citizen arguments. From the very beginning, he insists on facing a living man or woman accuser and repeatedly interrupts the judge, trying to derail the proceedings with unconventional legal claims. But the judge remains calm, firm, and patient, carefully explaining the charges, the possible penalties, and the defendant's constitutional rights, including his right to a trial, to question witnesses, and to have legal representation. As the interruptions continue, the judge issues clear warnings and stresses that courtroom rules must be followed, showing how the legal system handles disruptions while still protecting the defendant's rights. As the hearing unfolds, the focus shifts to whether the defendant will represent himself or accept help from an attorney. What starts as resistance slowly turns into hesitation, and for a moment, he appears to realize the seriousness of the situation and the risks of facing the court alone. With a future hearing scheduled and strict instructions to ensure a proper appearance, the exchange becomes a powerful example of how real courtrooms respond to sovereign citizen-style defenses. This case is not just about one charge, it's a fascinating look at courtroom discipline, legal reality versus personal beliefs, and the critical importance of understanding how the justice system truly works.
No, I do not. But I do believe I have the right to face my accuser. And on the record and for the record, and let the record show.
Okay, Mr. Perez-Beal, this is your first appearance. You are charged in count 1 with criminal trespass, a Class B non-person misdemeanor. A Class B non-person misdemeanor is punishable up to 6 months in the county jail and a fine not to exceed $1,000. Do you understand what you're charged with?
On the record, on and for the record, and let the record show, I have the right to face my accuser, and the accuser must be a living man or woman. Therefore, I move to dismiss the case entirely.
Well, that's not going to be done. Mr. Perez-Beal, I asked you a question. Do you understand what you're charged with?
No, I do not.
All right. What is it that you don't understand about the criminal trespass charge?
I don't know why I'm being charged with a criminal trespass. I have a picture of me and my children over there on November 23rd or 27th. I'd have to go back and date it. My livestock, please let me finish, Your Honor. My livestock come up missing. Whenever that man, I had that leased. Whenever that man come down here, my hot wire come up missing. The fence that divided our two properties. He cut a hole in his fence. I have a witness who is a neighbor stating that he's seen a young man and a young woman out there removing that hot wire. I've never once had a problem. He showed up, our hot wire come up missing, and a hole got in the fence. Whenever that happened, I called one of your deputies, Deputy Joe Love. He showed up to the scene.
All right, Mr. Perez.
I have a right to look for my missing livestock.
Mr. Perez-Beal,
I am filing an interlocutory appeal.
You need to stop talking for a moment. This is a first appearance.
Well, this is wrong.
Sir, this is a first appearance. At that time, what I do is I go over the charges, what the potential penalties are, and try to explain to you your rights. Please do not interrupt any further. Do not go off on tangents. I'll have some questions for you that you'll need to address. First of all, in regards to your rights, you have the right to a trial, either to the court or if you request in writing a request for a jury trial. At a trial, the state has the burden of proof. The burden of proof in a criminal case is beyond a reasonable doubt. At a trial, you have the right to be represented by an attorney or to represent yourself. You understand you have the right to, at a trial, to cross-examine the state's witnesses, and to call witnesses on your own behalf. You may use the court subpoena power to be sure that other witnesses appear. Do you understand these rights?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, at a trial, beyond the right to cross-examining the state's witnesses and calling witnesses on your own behalf, you have the right to either testify or not testify as you see fit. If you choose not to testify, then then that cannot be considered against you into determining if you're guilty or not guilty.
Must my accuser be a living man or woman?
Okay, Mr. Perez-Beal, I'm not sure where you're getting this.
The Sixth Amendment.
All right, this is the first appearance, as I've indicated before. Now, if you wish to be represented by an attorney, you can hire one, or you can apply to the court if you choose.
Let's take this to trial. Jury, I want a jury trial.
All right, first of all, let's answer the question about the attorney. Are you going to represent yourself, or are you going to hire an attorney?
I will, at this point, I'll represent myself. And if I have the fine.
You blocked out, Mr. Perez-Beal.
Can you hear me now?
And now I can hear you. The last thing I heard before it blacked out was in regards to you're going to be representing yourself, and that you
I will represent myself unless I'm financially able to hire an attorney. But last time I spoke to my attorney, Mrs. Mary Ann Shirley, she told me that Judge Jill Gillette does not like me. That's where all this is coming from.
First of all, Ms. Gillette is not the judge. I am.
I said
you've been before me before.
Yes, sir. I know.
All right. So, are you still on probation?
Yes, sir. As far as I know.
Well, if you're on probation and convicted of a new offense, that'll be a violation of that probation.
That's why Miss Gillette is doing this. My attorney already told me Miss Gillette does not like me. That comes from Miss Gillette to my attorney. That's a conflict of interest.
Right now, you don't have an attorney on this case. Is Ms. Mary Ann Shirley going to be? Are you going to hire her on this case?
I will talk to her, but Gillette knows what she's doing. She likes tearing families apart. What happened when Karma finally
Mr. Perez-Beal, you've indicated that you want a trial. And you also indicated that you wanted to have a trial by jury. To do that, you have to file a written request for a misdemeanor.
I have to file a written request?
If you are going to be representing yourself, you need to understand there's disadvantages in that. One disadvantage is I don't believe you have the training that an attorney has.
No, but I also don't have everything I make's going to try and keep our home and stay afloat right now.
Right. As I indicated before, if you wish to have an attorney but cannot afford an attorney, you can apply to the court. If you meet the financial guidelines, then I would appoint an attorney to represent you. If that may not be an attorney that you select.
I will talk to Miss Mary Ann Shirley.
All right. So if you're going to talk with an attorney, typically what we do is we schedule another hearing to give you that opportunity. And we call that a control hearing or a status hearing. Do you wish to do that, or do you wish to go ahead and schedule a trial?
If we schedule a trial and I show up with an attorney, will that be allowed?
Well, it would, but if you're asking for a jury trial, there's certain things that you have to do. Right now, you're representing yourself. That can be, you need to understand that the disadvantage that people have by doing that sometimes is more than others, but you will be required to follow the rules as you are an attorney if you're representing yourself. Most people don't know what those rules are and so forth. So that presents a real disadvantage at times. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you're going to apply for an attorney or talk with Ms. Shirley, what I'll do is schedule a control hearing. That is not waiving your right to a trial. All right. If that control hearing or status conference, which will set.
This courtroom hearing starts as a standard proceeding, but it quickly becomes a fascinating glimpse into the clash between unconventional legal beliefs and the formal justice system. The man facing criminal trespass charges enters the courtroom prepared to challenge the authority of the court in ways that are familiar to those who study sovereign citizen behavior. From the outset, he insists that he cannot face the proceedings without confronting a living man or woman as his accuser, a statement that immediately sets the tone for a tense and unusual exchange. As the judge begins to explain the charges, emphasizing that this is a Class B misdemeanor with possible jail time and a financial penalty, the defendant interrupts repeatedly, questioning the court's jurisdiction and the legitimacy of the process. Every time he speaks, the judge maintains composure, calmly explaining that the law does not operate according to personal interpretations but according to established rules designed to ensure fairness and justice. The courtroom becomes a delicate balancing act, with the judge maintaining order while the defendant attempts to assert his own version of legal authority. The judge methodically outlines the defendant's rights, ensuring he understands the options available, from the right to a trial to the ability to cross-examine witnesses and subpoena evidence. He stresses the importance of legal representation, noting that a trained attorney could help navigate the complexities of the case. The defendant initially expresses confidence in representing himself, a hallmark of many who adopt sovereign citizen arguments, but the judge's patience and clear explanations begin to reveal the risks of proceeding without professional guidance. Throughout the hearing, the defendant returns again and again to his earlier points, repeating claims about the need to face a living man or woman, and asserting that the court has no authority over him. Each attempt is calmly dismissed by the judge, who emphasizes that legal arguments must be grounded in law, not personal philosophy. The tension in the courtroom grows, but so does the clarity of the legal process, as viewers witness the procedural safeguards that protect both the defendant's rights and the integrity of the court. The discussion gradually turns to the question of legal counsel. The judge explains that the defendant may either hire an attorney or, if unable to afford one, have a court-appointed lawyer provide representation. For a brief moment, the defendant appears to reconsider, acknowledging that professional guidance might be beneficial. This moment stands out as a rare glimpse of self-awareness, a recognition that personal interpretations of the law are not sufficient to navigate the realities of a courtroom. As the hearing continues, the judge addresses the practical aspects of the case. A future control hearing is scheduled, and due to technical difficulties in previous sessions, the defendant is instructed to ensure a stable connection, either from the sheriff's office or from his attorney's office. These instructions underscore the court's commitment to procedure while accommodating reasonable needs to facilitate participation. Even as the defendant challenges, interrupts, and questions, the structure of the courtroom remains firm, illustrating the resilience of legal systems in maintaining order and fairness. Throughout the exchange, the dynamics between the judge and the defendant highlight the broader phenomenon of sovereign citizen behavior. The defendant's reliance on unconventional legal theories, insistence on challenging procedural norms, and repeated interruptions all reflect patterns that courts across the country encounter with some regularity. Yet, despite the disruptions, the courtroom functions as intended. The judge remains professional, explains the law clearly, and ensures that the defendant understands the consequences of his choices. As the hearing moves forward, the viewer begins to see the subtle transformation in the defendant's approach. Initially confident in his ability to represent himself, he gradually becomes more receptive to the idea of legal counsel. The judge reinforces the importance of understanding the law and cautions against the dangers of relying solely on personal interpretations. This ongoing dialogue offers not just a record of the case but a study in legal reality versus ideology, showing how the justice system responds to challenges that fall outside conventional boundaries. The narrative of the hearing is further enriched by the practical realities of courtroom procedure. The judge sets clear expectations for behavior, warns against interruptions, and provides repeated explanations of rights and responsibilities. At the same time, the defendant's persistent arguments serve as a reminder of how easily confusion can arise when individuals attempt to navigate complex legal systems without guidance. Each interruption, objection, and question becomes a learning moment, demonstrating both the patience required from the judiciary and the potential pitfalls for those who misunderstand the law. As the session progresses, the interplay between authority and resistance becomes more pronounced. The defendant's insistence on questioning jurisdiction and asserting personal interpretations continues, but the judge remains unflappable. With every claim dismissed and every warning issued, the audience witnesses a delicate but firm balance. The court enforces rules, protects rights, and guides the proceedings without succumbing to frustration or bypassing fairness. By the end of the hearing, the scheduled control hearing and technical requirements serve as a reminder that legal proceedings are not just theoretical, they have practical consequences. The defendant's consideration of an attorney marks a turning point, highlighting the critical importance of professional guidance in navigating legal systems. This transformation, however subtle, reinforces the message that while personal beliefs and arguments may provide a sense of agency, the law ultimately functions according to structured rules and established processes. In sum, this courtroom exchange offers a compelling look at the intersection of ideology and legal reality. It demonstrates how courts manage challenges from individuals using sovereign citizen arguments, emphasizing the patience, clarity, and professionalism required to maintain order while safeguarding rights. The defendant's journey through skepticism, interruption, and tentative reflection provides insight into the challenges and consequences of confronting the justice system without proper representation. For viewer, it is not only an engaging courtroom drama but also a cautionary tale about the importance of understanding and respecting legal processes, and the critical role that attorneys play in ensuring fairness and protecting rights in complex legal situations.